Hey everybody, Alex from SeemsGoodMagic.com here, and we're doing a Swiss Magic Origins draft. I've got some choices here, definitely. We've got Jesse and Thief, Ravaging Blaze, and Reeve Soul, and Swift Reckoning. Actually, just tons of good choices. I like all these cards. They're all pretty powerful. Usually I go for removal, and if I'm going to take removal, I think it's got to be the Ravaging Blaze. It's just the potential, granted it takes more mana, but the potential to just finish your opponent off in the late game is pretty insane. Makes it more versatile than the other removal spells. And Jesse and Thief's just a consideration because I love the card and I think it's really strong. But I think we are going to start it off with Ravaging Blaze. It's also the only red pick in here, which is certainly not going to motivate anybody else to go into red from this pack. But it also means we're not wheeling any red cards. Wow, past Whirler Rogue. Well, gotta take that. Not too much else in here I care about. There is Sphinx's Tutelage. I'm sure people still want to see more of that. And Claustrophobia in blue is also very good, but pretty easy Whirler Rogue, I think. All right, well, there's a Sigil, which is a fun card to play, but we also have Aeronaut. Yeah, I mean, there's some good enchantments in blue and white. You get Stratus Walk, you get Claustrophobia, both of which are pretty awesome with Sigil of the Empty Throne. Not my favorite card to build around. Scab Goliath is also quite good as like a finisher. Maybe I'd take the Goliath over the Aeronaut. Otherwise, there is Wild Instincts in here as removal. At this point, I want to cut blue, though. I mean, I absolutely would prefer. I'd prefer to play Whirler Rogue over Ravaging Blaze. So, cutting blue, I think Scab Goliath is probably the stronger card than Aeronaut most of the time. Okay, well, fourth pick, Suppression Bonds. There is a Majoring Bully, which I imagine is decent in the blue-red deck. There's no blue card worth picking here. I don't think Stratus Walk's worth picking, even though it is good with Scab Goliath, I guess. I might just want the Suppression Bonds. It's good removal. Maybe we wheel the Sigil of the Empty Throne. I don't know how likely that is yet, but Majoring Bully is actually pretty playable. It's certainly weaker than Suppression Bonds, but it's basically how badly do I want to play Ravaging Blaze. I mean, I am a big fan of Ravaging Blaze. But if I miss out on a bully, it doesn't matter. Might just want the bonds. You can also like splash for bonds, technically. This pack is a bit devoid of good stuff for us. No good blue pick, no good red pick, no good white pick. And the best green pick is like a Might of the Masses. I mean, I guess I just take that. Well, this is interesting. We've got a, what is it, sixth pick, Somerworld Alpha. That card is pretty strong. I think we're going to slam that, actually. All right, now I'm going to take Disperse over Disciple and Ringwarden Owl. Still want to continue to cut blue. Priority being end up playing that Whirler Rogue. A pretty late Goblin Glory Chaser. Now I'm just going to sort by color. Yeah, blue is still priority. Look like green is probably the second color because of Somerworld Alpha. I don't really like the Fairy Miscreant plan. Pilgrimage Ramps, but I don't really like the card in general. Guess I could just take Negate, but Goblin Glory Chaser is the strongest one, and Negate's kind of a take it or leave it thing. I guess I'll take the Glory Chaser. Okay. Now I think we're just going to take the Timberpack Wolf pretty easily there. All right, Zendikar's Royal versus Screeching Scab. Probably just take the Scab. It's a 2-drop. It also feeds the Scab Goliath we have. And technically it feeds Spell Mastery, which we currently don't have, but could eventually get. I actually think Screeching Scab's fine in this format. There's certainly been a couple times where it screwed me, where I'm like hoping to hit a land on my next draw, and I mill 2 of the land when I play the Screeching Scab, but it's not like you can control for that, you know? And a few people have said how much they hate this card, but I think the card's absolutely fine. It also synergizes with, it's kind of a crazy picture too when you look at it. Wow, Tabled Aeronaut? That's ridiculous. What was I saying? Synergizes with Cruel Revival is what I was going to say. Okay, we'll take the Stratus Walk now. Someone did snatch up that Sigil of the Empty Throne. There's a chance we're going to have to run into that. So it definitely seems like green is going to be our second color, but I'm leaving the other cards in there just in case there's some bonkers color, card in that color that I want to take. But at this point, we got to be blue. Third to last pick, Aeronaut, is pretty huge, and Whirler Rogue is just so powerful. Alright, I guess we'll take Nivik's Barrier. Okay, send to sleep, sure. Okay, so good start for a deck. I think we definitely properly got ourselves into blue, and it would appear that green is going to be the second color we want to go into. We have 3 very good green picks, but we have 2 good red picks. Mage Ring Responder's pretty strong. I think we gotta first pick that. In blue, we only have like Water Courser. Blue-white, there's Thunderclap Wyvern, which I like. In red, we have like Fire Fiend Elemental. Green, we've got Empath. Nothing's on enough power level to not take the Responder here, so we'll slam that. Also, happens to work pretty well with Whirler Rogue. Make it unblockable and kill something along the way. Okay, follow-up pick. Well, we have Wild Instincts, Dwynen's Elite for Rika's Disciple. Nothing in blue. Probably just take the Wild Instincts, I guess. At this point, let's just start dipping out of red and fully commit ourselves. I could still splash Suppression Bonds, but we'll see. I don't know if that's going to happen or not. But I do love a good... I love Wild Instincts. Okay, Rock Maulers versus Aeronaut. I think we'll just take the Mauler. We could take the Evolving Wild to splash the Suppression Bonds, which isn't bad. Our removal is fairly light. Disperse and Wild Instincts only at the moment. Send to Sleep's not really removal I'm thinking about just yet, but it's doable if I end up with enough combat tricks. Rock Mauler's just very good. I think we just take that, especially since we tabled Aeronaut last time. I love Void Mage. We'll take that. Very good. I mean, there's Epiphany, which works well with the Aeronaut and the Whirler Rogue. And Responder, I guess, too. But I think we actually want the Coast. I imagine it's probably not worth much, but it seems like something we want. Fixes our mana, and we're just not giving up much for it. I don't love the Drake. Caterpillar's sideboard. Actually, a good sideboard, but I'd rather just have good fixing here. It's not that we're not actually super color intensive, but basically it seems like a free pick for us. Like I said, I'm really not giving up much for it. Just seems like the correct pick there. All right, here I guess we just take the Owl. Not a terribly exciting pick, but otherwise it's Negate. And I don't even really like Aerial Volley all that much as a sideboard card. I keep drafting it as a sideboard card, and it doesn't come up enough. It tends to not be good enough in this format. Ring Warden Owl's fine, though. It's not a hugely exciting pick, but all right, I guess we'll take the second wolf. Chance for some synergy there. Otherwise, just another bear. Never really hurt a deck. In this format, ooh, tabled watercourser is pretty fantastic. I just realized, got my mana curve all off. Now they're all going to be grouped together, which is annoying. Yeah, let's just sort by mana cost. There we go. No, it did it again. That's okay. We'll get this all fixed up. All right. Watercourser number 2 seems correct. Curve is making itself. Stratus Walk, probably not even playing the first one, but I certainly don't need Deep Sea Terror, and I don't care about gear per Aether Grid, so sure, we'll take Stratus Walk. Aeronaut tabled again. Pretty excellent. So now we're 3 cards from a deck. Didn't see a ton of green that time around, but we did see late green pack 1, which possibly means we can see it again in pack 3. But we have a great looking blue shell, and we've got some good green cards. I mean, Alpha's fantastic. I like Instincts, Maulers. Timberpack Wolves are always playable if you're in green, and Might of the Masses is great. Just currently rocking a good creature count, so deck looks good. I think a couple more removal spells wouldn't hurt, but Wild Instinct, Separatist, Void Mage, Disperse, and Might of the Masses as a combat trick is not a bad start. Epiphany, okay. I mean, we have Whirler Rogue and Double Aeronaut and Responder, so we're actually getting to the point where Epiphany might be good enough. We're kind of good on 4-drops already. All of our 4-drops are very good, but I kind of don't want to run too many more. Wouldn't mind some more 3-drops just to fill out the curve a little bit. Jeez. Well, that's scary. Got Languish. I probably want the Clash of Wills. Visionary would be very good too. I'm not going to hate a Languish though. Clash of Wills is a very, very good card. And a card I love to play when I'm in blue. So I think we're going to take that over the Visionary and over the hated Languish and hating a Free Blade too. Someone's going to be very happy with a Languish. But thankfully we actually have a couple creatures that, like even Rox Mauler, can survive it if it's at the, if it's renowned. Wow. Pass another powerful black rare. Jeez. Rox Mauler number 2. There's also another Aeronaut. There's also Evolving Wilds, Titanic Growth. Interesting choices all around. I'm going to dump the Stratus Walks for now. I just don't think they're happening. So yeah, Titanic Growth combat trick versus another Mauler. I think Mauler is stronger in general. In fact, I think I'm going to take Mauler, and if I end up with too many playables, I'll probably just cut the Ring Warden out. I think I'd rather just play a Mauler. Mauler's very good. This one, on the other hand, is a bit of a miss. So I think we're just going to hate something. Actually, I guess we'll take Caterpillar. There's a chance I'm going to want it for sideboard. But yeah, there's a bunch of good cards to hate in here. Impulse, Acolyte, even Flare. But Caterpillar might be possibly good enough. Servitor versus the 3rd Watercourser. I think we actually want Servitor. Makes our Epiphany better. Watercourser is a better card, but I don't mind getting some more cheap spells too. And currently I don't mind running the Epiphany, so we'll take the Servitor. Okay, I mean technically we have enough cards for the deck, so I might just want the Rogue's Passage. Yeah, I think Rogue's Passage is pretty good in here, especially since we already have a little bit of fixing, so. And we're basically out of deck. I mean, I'd prefer at this point to not main deck, I guess, the Caterpillar. And probably the Send to Sleep. We just don't have enough combat tricks and spells to support it, but Rogue's Passage still seems good enough. Ooh, you know, I love Invocation. And we definitely have enough token producers to support it in this deck. Leaf Gilder would be great too. I think we have a good curve to support that. But I'm actually just going to take Invocation and hope we end up with enough spells where I can cut the Owl. All right, easy Tower Geist here. Very nice 23rd card, even though it's another 4-drop. Our 4-drops are just looking great. So I'd like to cut Owl now, since our curve is a little bit top heavy still. All right, Maritime Guard I think is just going to be run over Owl in this deck. It kind of serves a good purpose of just buying us time. Our late game is so strong that I don't mind. I mean, I'd like to update it, or upgrade it rather. But for now, I'm fine with running it. Okay, I think I'd take the second Screeching Scab, and I may not actually run Epiphany in here. Epiphany's just a good card if you can almost guarantee draw 2 with no discard, but we're actually kind of a top-heavy deck, which makes me like Epiphany less. It does help us find mana if we're missing mana, but just getting more 2-drops is fine. That can buy us enough time to just get to the late game. All right, Hydrolash, I guess, is something, but I don't think we're playing it. Currently, I like everything in the deck. I don't have any real major gripes with this deck. We have a ton of creatures. We have plenty of early things to do. We have plenty of mid to late things to do. We have some powerful spells. Removal is a little bit lacking, but not like terrible. All right, I'm going to hate Flare here. Seems like a card that's actually kind of good against us. I guess we have a lot of little dudes, so it's maybe not that good, but certainly good against a Goliath or Responder or Rock Maulers. This deck looks good, though. Looks like a nice little beatdown build. And blue-green has been a very successful color combination for me overall, so I think Leap might be better than Macabre Waltz. All right, so here's the deck. Pretty straightforward. We got a Rogue's Passage, too, which is nice. We're very green light. I guess we do have double green, but I probably can get away with Yavimaya Coast and 6. Well, we're not even really blue intensive. We have 1 double blue spell and 1 double green spell, but we definitely want to see more blue than green, so yeah, this is probably what I was going to run. 10 blue, 7 green. We do have some early green plays, though, which kind of makes me want to go 9, 8 instead, because if you look at our curve, we actually, 2 of our 2-drops are, in fact, green. And 9 blue is still more than enough to almost ensure that we're going to guarantee see it on turn 2. Screeching Scabs are basically pikers in this deck that do feed Scab Goliath, but we don't have any other spell mastery. Might of the Masses looks great in this deck, so that was just a nice speculative early pickup. Weakest card in the deck is probably Maritime Guard. So Maritime Guard could get swapped for Epiphany. So like I said, basically the main thing that Epiphany serves in this deck is finding us lands if we are missing it and we've got all our fat in our hand. It also kind of feeds Scab Goliath if you don't have an artifact, which isn't bad. Maritime Guard is more of a sideboard card for the most part, and I feel like we ended up with enough 2-drops where I could probably get away with running Epiphany instead and be okay with that. I think that probably makes sense. Okay. Yeah, good looking deck. A little bit removal light, but powerful creatures. And we've got some good tempo plays too, so we'll try it like this, and we'll see you round 1.